excited to stand before you and talk about communion today. So this last weekend, a fair amount of us were gone at the marriage retreat in Portland. It was a great time, and Sasha and Lisa Sharma were the guest speakers, and I feel like I can really connect to when Sasha speaks, he speaks in a way that's deep, but that's powerful and easily understood. And they were talking about love and different kinds of love. The first day they were talking about philia or brotherly love and the importance of that in marriage. But then on Sunday they were talking about agape love. And so that's what I've been trying to think about throughout the week this week, not only in applying to my marriage, but just to my life in general. And I feel like there is no greater display of agape love than the cross. And so I felt like that was something that made sense to talk about in communion. First, I wanted to read in 1 Corinthians verse 13, kind of a scripture that a lot of people have heard, but I wanted to start there in my sharing and just read verses 4 to 7. It says, "Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud, it does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres." And I feel like Jesus really lived that way in his relationships with everybody that he came across. Whether it was, appearing posthumously to Paul, or speaking with the woman at the well, with Peter, even with Judas, who he knew was going to betray him. He always protected, he always hoped, he always trusted, he loved the same way, even knowing what was going to happen, in those relationships. And that type of love, you could see, was transformative in all of those relationships. And the woman at the well was like, this is somebody that's told me everything I've ever done, but she didn't feel, he kind of calls her out, but she didn't feel judged in a way. She felt the love, she felt, that hope, and, keeping no record of wrongs was kind of the epitome of the way that Jesus lived his life. And we're trying to think about how can I do that. And, I feel like it's easy to love the people that you like, or it's easy to love my wife most of the time. But agape love is something, it's like, even if she's doing something that's wronging me, or I'm feeling sick, or I'm feeling tired, or I'm feeling stressed out from work, it's like that's a love that's supposed to persevere through all those situations. And I was reading some different things about agape love, and there was one paragraph I wanted to read that I thought really stood out to me, and I've been kind of dwelling on this weekend. It says, agape love is a love that values, esteems, respects, and honors another person because of their intrinsic value and worth. And I made my own little note. As God's creation, we're created in his likeness, so we all have intrinsic worth from that. Agape love is not based on the other's behaviors or attributes such as beauty, wealth, possessions, or intelligence. It's not based on their accomplishments or performance. It is not based on whether they like you or not. Agape love arises from an act of my will. We will ourselves, even command ourselves, to love the other with agape love. There's no emotion involved in agape love, so feelings are not required to manifest agape love. In fact, agape love will never be controlled or dominated by our feelings for the other, whether positive or negative. I do not love another with agape love in order to manipulate them for my own gain. I just love them in the agape way. And that thought of, it doesn't matter what, attributes or possessions or beauty or performance that I've done. God, created me, he knows me, he loves me through all of those things. I think of the worst, moments in my life when I've walked away from God, when I've actively, besmirched his name. He was still there, loving me. I'm grateful that he used other people in my life, and he used his word to be able to cut my heart with that love and to show me, that he did love me. And I feel like that, those are the most powerful moments, of my life. And those are the moments when I feel like, if I feel like I'm not connecting to God, that I can go back to and think of, okay, even when I was God's enemy in my mind, like it says in Romans, this is where he was. He was chasing me down. He was there beside me through all those things. And because he values me, he loves me, he created me. And I think thinking about worth and thinking about value, like the way we measure worth on earth is what people are willing to pay. Like your house is worth what someone else will pay for it. And it's like for our lives, like Jesus paid the ultimate price. Jesus went to the cross. Like that's what he shows us. That's how he shows us with his agape love what we are worth. And that's why kind of communion is the centerpiece of a service on a Sunday, because despite our imperfections and our worst days, God, we are worth the sacrifice of Jesus' life so that we can be in heaven, with God for eternity. That when you come to that knowledge, that's the kind of knowledge and the kind of love that transformed my life and transformed the lives of everybody in this room. And I think that's what communion's about. That's what the cross is about. Just what I've been thinking about a lot this weekend, and I wanted to share with each of you. Bow our heads and pray for communion. Dear God, thank you for who you are. Thank you for your love for us, despite our own sins, our own imperfections, God. I pray that each one of us can have the humility and the love and the attitude towards one another that talks about in Philippians 2 that Jesus had while he was on this earth. That even though he was God, he didn't consider that something to be gone after, but that he humbly served others. He humbly served us. He humbly went to the cross for us. That while he was being arrested, he healed the man's ear that Peter cut off. While he was on the cross, he forgave the thieves, and then he asked you to forgive the people because they didn't know what they were doing. And it's that kind of love that I strive to want, that I strive to imitate on a daily basis. God, I pray that you can help each one of us to be able to understand that love that you have for us, and to be able to help to distribute that love to those around us. Just thank you for the cross. Thank you for paying the ransom that was Jesus' life to show me what I'm worth in your eyes. Thank you for this time. It's in your Son's name. Amen.